Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Massachusetts Pirate News. This is our last episode of 2023. We will return in January of 2024, and I still find that hard to say because time moves on. It's a strange concept. Anyways, with that, I'm joined today by Quartermaster Joe and First Officer Steve. How are the two of you doing?
Not ready for Christmas or any of the other holidays for that matter. Oi.
I'm drying off. I got caught in the downpour earlier, but doing all right.
And there's more of that tomorrow.
Oh, there's lots more of that tomorrow. New England, you're all wet, or at least, and if not now, you're gonna be.
I mean,
Well, it could be snow, so.
It could be. Isn't it supposed to be getting colder at this time of year? And yet not, and then yes, and then no.
So we'll have a survey out or a questionnaire out for our conference that will be in January. The first Saturday of January, we'll be restarting our democracy meetups online. We'll have details of that at masspirates.org. And then from there, we'll do candidate trainings and organizing trainings and stuff like that in January. Should you want to run for an office, say state representative, state senate, governor's council, U.S. House of Representatives, nomination papers are available about middle of February. We'll also be having an election for new officers, since our elections are scheduled for the winter of the year. So if that's something that you're interested in, there'll be a sign up sheet for that, shall we say, online at masspirates.org. So one of the things that came across was this article from Poland, apparently in August of 2022. So it's old and new news because it just came out, even though it occurred in August of 2022. They have a set of trains, and after 1 million miles, you're supposed to get them serviced. And, being that there's competition, they put it out for bid as to who would do the service, and the manufacturer bid and another company bid, and the manufacturer is more expensive, so they went with the cheaper company. And then the cheaper companies got the trains, disassembled them, fixed everything, reassembled them, and lo and behold, the trains wouldn't start. And so they ultimately hired a bunch of Polish hackers who downloaded the code, downloaded the various firmware, and figured out that if the location where the service was not in a specified location, then the train would not turn on. So I guess now we have, DRM for trains?
Well, I thought that was the thing I thought was pretty wild is that, the train manufacturers know, they service their products, but they know who their competitors are for services. And they basically programmed the GPS coordinates, the latitude and longitude of competitive, train maintenance facilities. And it's like, if you're undergoing service and you're in this location, then brick yourself. It's kind of like, it reminds me a little bit of the whole Volkswagen diesel thing, where if you're, if the vehicle is under a certain set of conditions, and assume you're getting an emissions test and run things a lot leaner. But if you're not, run things normally and, emit a lot more stuff. What I thought was really interesting was that the train manufacturer immediately denies this. They call it a PR smear campaign. and they're claiming that they've been cyber attacked. You know, it's interesting from the point of view of like, what should you write if you're buying a train? What should you write into the contract language? You know, I wouldn't have expected the manufacturer to brick a frickin' train. But you know, it's something that you need. I guess you need to ask your lawyers to put that in.
Well, here's a big thing that I want to say on this is that thank God for the hackers. I mean, thank God for hackers in general, because a lot of the times there are those out there like Anonymous, or at least the original Anonymous, who would literally just keep so many people in line that, and then when big government tried to go after them, they're just like, nope. And if it wasn't for those hackers, we would have never known. They would have never been able to figure out what was going on with this. Mm-hmm. And so special thanks to those who are willing to defy those DRMs. A little bit of love from over here in Mass to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, one of the reasons why, certain industries have tried to push things into like the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, where, if you cannot reverse engineer or disassemble or mess with or alter, software in our products. Software lets you, if you're there, the sort of rules that you can program a computer to follow are limited only by your imagination. And it's very easy to slip sneaky stuff or what I'll call sneaky shit into software. And I do think that I am like Joe. I am really appreciative of the research and disassembly and reverse engineering communities who pull this stuff apart and say, oh yeah, what's this do? And it's one of those things where the fact that it is legal to do is actually a very good thing, in my opinion.
Well, it goes back to the whole, where does ownership lie? Like when you buy software, who owns that software when you pay for it? And I always like to think of it in the cookie analogy. If I buy a cookie, that cookie is mine. It is in my belly. All right. That cookie is no longer the manufacturer's cookie. They can't have it back. Once that's downloaded onto my computer, that is my computer. That is my copy. That is my ownership. And I should have the right to repair it, to change it, alter it as I see fit to suit my needs. If I want to add sprinkles to my cookie, it's going to have sprinkles. All right. I don't care if I want to put a unicorn on there, it's going to have a unicorn. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's my cookie to mess with as I see fit, so that I can get the maximum enjoyment and value out of my cookie. And if these companies think that we're not going to just do what we want to do, there's going to come to a head, and it's going to come to the point where somebody really just puts them in their place. Monsanto, excuse me.
Well, could I just say that, just sort of slightly off topic, but the thought of the picture of Joe downloading cookies just kind of made me smile.
If I could 3D print cookies that were edible, I would.
I'm sure.
I mean, they have been working on 3D printers for years. So
I know, but they're terrible.
Well, it's like sugar is pretty easy to extrude, right? So.
Yeah, but the flour and then the baking process, it's, doing it traditionally is a better cookie than a 3D printed one. But, I can have my Star Trek dreams.
I mean, I was curious, once they figured out that it was GPS located as to whether it would turn on or not, did they put it in neutral and just have someone tow the locomotive out, and then it's 100 feet away, turn it on, does it turn on? No. Okay, go to 200 feet away. Like,
Well,
there's probably some limit, right?
yeah, I mean, what I thought was, well, what they actually did was, they found basically an undocumented key sequence that unlocked the train. Or unbricked the train, I should say.
But I mean, I think it also points to a wider thing that we need right to repair, that corporations shouldn't be able to brick your car or your train or your airplane or your boat or your house.
Or your tractor.
Or your train, especially, especially your
Yeah, we're talking to you, John Deere.
right.
That reminds me of
you know, without
sorry, go
you
ahead, Jamie.
knowing about it and being able to challenge it. I mean, there's also a need for open source. Apparently now there's a need for open source locomotive software. I didn't think that was a thing, but obviously should have been that way from the get-go. That way you can.
I mean, wasn't BMW trying to like charge a subscription to turn on your heated seats?
Yes, BMW did something like that, not in the United States, but essentially you have a car, your car has heated seats in it, but the heated seats don't work unless you pay a subscription fee. Paying the subscription fee unlocks it so you can use the stuff that you paid for.
I mean, Tesla does that as well, right? You can't use the full capacity of the battery unless you pay them an additional $N,000 or something like that, which is why put it in there if you're not, and then to top it off, if you resell the car, all those features go away and the new owner now needs to pay for those features, which is just, you don't own what you have, what you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm not going to put money into Tesla.
For a variety of reasons. There's a long list of
PayPal
reasons.
Or Twitter.
Yeah, I love the thing about Cybertruck where to open the glove compartment, you have to push a button on the flat panel. And the one excuse I heard was, well, if that's the case, then the car is off. Someone who breaks into the car can't go and do that. Of course, how would they break into the car when it's supposed to have bulletproof windows?
Mm-hmm.
But it just, the officer tells me to turn off the car, and I turn off the car, and then, sorry, I can't get my license and registration off.
Actually, speaking of Tesla, I read recently that they are facing some liability cases. So going back to their autopilot feature, which autopilot, the sort of claim is that, the marketing claim is that the car will drive itself for you. I think the legalese version has a lot of fine print to it. But basically, their autopilot feature had difficulty detecting oncoming traffic, and there were two cases in 2000. One was in 2019. I'm not sure when the first one was, but basically the autopilot failed to notice a tractor trailer crossing the car's view, and it basically sheared the top off the vehicle. Like going under the tractor trailer. Now, apparently, although this, like the event that the instance that generated the legal action was in 2019, apparently Tesla knew about this at least 3 years earlier.
And they sold it anyway.
And that's pretty damn irresponsible.
Well, but I mean, it's only one person, right?
Did they actually die?
I do not know. I do not recall.
Usually when your top of your car gets sheared off.
Not necessarily.
Unless you manage to duck at the exact right moment.
I mean, it depends. I mean, you could just have that lucky moment. You could have been leaned back having a nap.
Yeah, good point.
I know that if I had a car that drove for me, it would have an easy bake oven and I would be making cookies.
So Joe, you wanted to bring up something for the
Oh,
US.
yes. More international mayhem and aggravation. So Venezuela is talking about invading Guiana, which logistically, there's
Guyana.
no way to really do that without invading and going through Brazil, or because Guiana, at least the part they're looking to take over, is all just rainforest. The only thing out there that they're looking to take over is like little villages. And obviously, it's a land grab for them to get oil. I mean, everyone knows that the area that they're looking to annex is just oil rich. And so it's a resource grab. And it's pretty obvious that Venezuela being the bigger is the Russia in this scenario, and Guiana is the Ukraine. Except the difference is that there's literally they're looking to take a large chunk of Amazon rainforest, um, with a couple like tribal villages in there, and in order for them to invade it, they're literally it's thousands of miles of border and it's all dense jungle. So logistically, the only way to really access this is through Brazil to move any amount of troops and then supply them. So even logistically, um, it, I don't see how the Venezuela, even though they voted to go ahead and do this, um, there's no real good way to do it. So I'm kind of interested to see how they were going to pull it off. Obviously the U.S. condemns it, um, and I condemn any bigger country invading a smaller country. But um, if they do end up invading, most likely it's going to come with them having to go through Brazil, and I'm not sure Brazil is going to really allow that. Or they're going to go through jungle, which case would become a logistical nightmare to supply their troops to invade. So, because there's literally where they're looking to invade has no infrastructure, no nothing. It's just dense jungle. So where are they going to go? Invade with bulldozers? Pretty sure that everybody's doing that from every angle, anyways, and the Amazon rainforest is still there. So, um, that being said, and then there was the U.S. and other international news. The U.S. did something dumb for the sake of Israel. I think they did a veto with the UN was looking to really force peace talks, and the U.S. vetoed it for whatever reason. I'm not even fully sure why.
Yeah, the the Secretary General basically asked the Security Council to vote to support a ceasefire in Israel's attack on Gaza, and everyone voted for it except the United Kingdom, who abstained, and the U.S. voted against it for the ostensible reason that how was it said? Something like it's not going having a ceasefire doesn't resolve the situation. I mean, it resolves the killing of people. At least while the ceasefire is on, right?
Steve, wasn't it your idea to like just take Israel and put it in the U.S.?
No, that was a silly bit of nonsense I saw on social media. But yeah, the
Oh,
the the person who came up with this idea was thought, yeah, this will just make everyone happy, and we won't have to, and it'll reduce defense spending.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's like
oh,
saying to the Ukrainians, "Hey, come to the U.S." Like, no.
well, you know, better than being at war.
Mhm.
uh, anything else for the 2024?
I mean, 2023 was such a weird year. 2024, what's really going to happen is we're coming up on our elections. It's really going to decide some major things, like, do we continue in Ukraine, supporting Ukraine and throwing money at them? Who we elect is really, really going to matter in the direction we take our country. So,
Well,
definitely as campaigns ramp up, we're definitely going to be throwing our perspective in there. We're definitely going to be looking to run candidates ourselves. So we're going to be doing our, like you said at the beginning, Jamie, we're going to be doing our own elections and then getting ready for that. So hopefully we keep on growing and making things better and more solid. I know nationally the Pirate Party is really growing in the U.S. We just elected Texas, and they actually had 2 sponsorships. We sponsored them as the Massachusetts chapter, and um, also I believe Illinois sponsored them, if I do recall correctly. Um, so we're still growing. We have West Virginia building. We have, I believe, Kentucky may come back into the fold. California is there. So we're doing things in America. You know, people are really getting that we're the unique party. We're truly, out of all the third parties, we're probably one of the most unique parties, where we're a lot more no nonsense politics, or
uh,
as I like to think of it, Darwinism politics. So
yeah,
that's something I'm stealing from Steve.
not
Where
to. Oh, go ahead. Finish up, Joe.
I was just going to say, like, if someone wants to commit political Darwinism, we don't stop them.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that there will be a lot of important decisions made after the next national election. And I think the biggest one is whether the U.S. continues to be a democracy. Uh, there is, there is an authoritarian streak in the United States, and it's only gotten bigger. And I don't know which way this is going to turn out.
The question is, which side is authoritarian? Because I kind of see both sides as becoming authoritarian, and we just need both of the major parties becoming very authoritarian in drastically different ways. And that's why more than ever we need to have third party candidates.
No, the authoritarian part is the yo-yo running for president who thinks that people should be shot by vigilantes for simple crimes like shoplifting. The authoritarian party wants to take a woman whose life is at risk because of a pregnancy complication, and threaten, and after she's given a court order, a court has allowed her to have an abortion. The state justice department threatens doctors who might perform the surgery. Um, you know, the authoritarian party is the one that wants to use the Justice Department and the federal Justice Department to go after not people who break the law, but people who disagree with them. I don't really think, and this is there are some instances and times in the past where I've said like Democrats, Republicans, blah blah blah. This time there is a really, very very clear difference between the two.
Well, it's hard to argue with your logic there, Steve.
And with that, thank you very much for watching the last year's worth of episodes of Massachusetts Pirate Party News. If you find them helpful, please feel free to send us an email, info@masspirates.org. We're always looking for people to help us produce these, to participate, to spread the word. You can always find us at masspirates.org. And if you like us, and if you really, really like us, do like, share, and subscribe. Helping to spread the word about what we have to say is one helpful way of making sure our message gets out there in a very oversaturated, overstimulated social media landscape. So thanks so much. Hope you have wonderful holidays, whatever they may be, and or not. But we certainly hope you have some time off, and we know we'll be recharging our batteries and getting ready for 2024. So with that, take care, be well, and don't forget, the 1927 Napoleon is still out there for you to watch for free. Check the last episode. And, we'll be talking about it. The first episode of Pirate News, it's going to be another public domain day coming up January 1st, 2024. And we're very much looking forward to it. Take care, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.